Good morning, you guys. It's day number 58 of my stay-batical to 50 100-day journey. I am on to change my body, my mind, and to watch what happens. And I took yesterday off. As you guys know, been talking a lot about my ankle lately, giving me a lot of fits. And so I figured, let's give an extra day of rest, which is what I did yesterday. But I did more than just rest yesterday. I actually did some therapy on that right ankle because it's been really sore lately. So I went and bought a compression sock to put over that ankle. And that provided a lot of relief as I was resting yesterday. So I did that. And then I talked to my friend Brittany, who was recently dealing with a lot of back pain on her 75 hard. And so for her, she said, I wonder if it's my shoes that was causing her back pain. So she went down to this store called Fleet Feet, F-L-E-E-T, Feet. And she said it made all the difference in the world. Her back pain went away. And so I thought, okay, it's in the town over from me, Greenville. So I drove over to Greenville and found this store. And you get there and they have you step on this little contraption which shows like how high your arches are, shows like where you're bearing weight the most, and all kinds of things. And then the lady that was helping me had me walk so she could see my normal walking pattern. I told her what I'm doing with all the walking on this trail. And she watched my walking pattern and she said, oh, I went, oh, what? She said, you have a slight inward kind of tilt on your foot when you walk. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? She's like, well, a lot of the pressure on your ankle is where you're naturally walking and it's kind of tilting inward. It's putting a lot of pressure on that right ankle. I'm like, okay. Do you have shoes that can help correct that? And she said, oh yeah, that's why you're here. So I got a pair of shoes that when I put and I'm wearing them now, that when I put on these shoes, I immediately felt the pain in the ankle go away. There was no limping. There was really no problems at all with that ankle. And I'm going, holy crap, have I been suffering needlessly out here on this trail with all the walking I do? And the answer is yeah, I sure have. So I have got a brand new pair of shoes. They weren't cheap, by the way. You go to a store like this where they customize, it's a running shoe store. Obviously I'm not running, but it corrects a lot of imbalances in your foot. And so it's actively not allowing my foot to curve inward. It's keeping it upright. She did say, well, we've got extra support we could put in the bottom. She tried that and it actually felt worse. So I'm like, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. Let's keep what we got. So it feels so good in these shoes. I ended up ordering 2 other pair so I can kind of rotate them on my walks. But this leads me to what I wanted to talk about here today. And the topic is all about never stop looking for solutions. When you're on a journey, you're going to run into some roadblocks, some obstacles, some things that won't be quite right. So when you're in the midst of that, you need to look for solutions. And sometimes you try things and they don't work. Sometimes you just make shifts and it's just an abysmal failure. And you're like, see, nothing's working. So I'm here to tell you, never, ever stop looking for solutions. If something's not quite right, which in this case, my right ankle, if something's not quite right, you keep looking for solutions. And yesterday, I happened to find the solution to why my ankle was hurting so bad. Guys, I am speeding today compared to what I've been doing. Usually this time in the walk, I've got a noticeable limp. I'm coming up on my first hill. And I feel like I'm flying today with how fast I'm walking. So it was as simple as getting the right shoes. Maybe you start your own journey. Maybe you have been on a journey, a physical health journey where you're maybe starting to lift weights, and maybe your form is off. Maybe when you started your weightlifting, your resistance training, you thought you knew how to do it, and so you were doing it the way you thought. But then you felt like, man, this is painful. I don't like this. Doesn't feel quite right. Could it be that it's not the right solution? Could it be you need to shift it a little bit? And I would argue, yes. I would argue that might be the thing you need to do. Do you find that? Do you find that on any journey you're on? That sometimes you think you know how it should go, and I see it all the time in keto. People talk about they're eating keto. And then when you dig into it, well, what are you eating? Well, I'm having a low-carb wrap with egg whites and turkey bacon. And I'm like, whoa, stop there. I'm like, who told you that was keto? Well, it's low in carbs. All right, so that low-carb wrap, read the ingredients to me. Whole wheat flour, first ingredient. That's not keto. Who told you to eat egg whites? Well, we know low fat's good, so low fat, low carb must be better. That's keto, right? No. So forth and so on. So people always are doing things the wrong way. That's why you should never stop looking for the solution. I think most of our problems that we encounter, especially on a health journey, is of our own making. We don't really learn how to do it properly, whatever it is we're trying to do, and that leads to frustration and predictable failure. So looking for solutions is finding resources, books, podcasts, crazy people on Instagram at 7:45 in the morning to encourage you and to give you good information. But do you feel me today? Are you one of those people who thinks, well, I've tried everything. I guess I should just give up. I guess it's hopeless for me. And I don't mean to make fun of those people, but in a way I do. Because I feel like people give up way too soon. They don't really want to find solutions. They don't really want to resolve the underlying issue. And the underlying issue is you haven't found your solution yet. There's always a solution. The human body is not meant to be sick. It's not meant to be obese. Not naturally anyway. Now, yes, doing unnatural things can make it that way, but it's not meant to be that way. And so if it's not meant to be that way, and the default is you actually being healthy, then don't you think your body has a way to get there, right? Good morning. And so that's what I wanted to edify you guys with today is if you're on any given journey, there is always going to be a solution. That's why you should never stop looking for solutions. There's always something. Always. And maybe it's something you don't even want to think about. Like all the things I'm doing. Like you guys know, I've been keto and carnivore, low carb for the past 17 years, keto for right about 9 years, and then the last 5 years or 4 years I've been carnivore. And that is a great basis, but it's not the only thing. And I've come to the conclusion that I have to do keto, carnivore, plus other things. And that's okay. That's a part of my solutions. It's a part of most of our journeys that we put all our eggs in the basket of one thing. Oh, it burns me. Every time I hear somebody, they write to me and they say, I've been keto, I've been carnivore for X amount of time, not losing weight, not feeling great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, what else are you doing besides keto or carnivore? And they used to look at me sideways like, what? I'm like, yeah, what else is in your toolbox? And you need to look at everything that you do as being a part of a set of tools to fix your body. You would not go on a construction site with just a screwdriver, would you? If you went on a construction site with just a screwdriver, how would you deal with the need for a hammer? How would you deal with the need for nails and saws? All kinds of things. You wouldn't be able to handle it at all. Why? Because a screwdriver alone, sorry, there's a guy mowing right now, so let me get out of his earshot. It's so loud. There he is mowing on a hill. Because the screwdriver alone is not enough to get the job done. You can't build very much in terms of like a house or something with just a screwdriver. You need more than that. And the people that look at diet alone as the way for them to get healthy, they're like that person with just a screwdriver trying to build a house. And so always, always, always keep all the tools in the toolbox. So another tool is what I'm doing right now. Exercise. You can do walking, you can do weightlifting, you can do all kinds of things. But is that it? No. Maybe we need some meditation. I did a nice 10-minute meditation this morning. And again, I'm going to underscore, if you're not currently doing stuff to de-stress your body, highly recommend that you try meditation. Go look up meditation on YouTube. There are lots of 10-minute meditations. It will change your life. Grounding, sunshine exposure, like all the things that I'm doing, I feel like in this sabbatical to 50 have put me in a situation where I feel like I've got all the tools so I can rebuild this house and get to a good place. So never stop looking for those solutions. I think we give up too prematurely, way too often. So if you're just joining in, guys, welcome. Good morning. Missed you yesterday. I took a day of rest. And as I was talking about at the very beginning, this is day 58 of my sabbatical, by the way. Like I said at the beginning, I took the day of rest. I therapized my ankle, put some CBD oil on it, put a compression sock on it, and that really helped. But then I went to the town over and got some customized shoes that would correct some of the problems in my walking pattern. And boy, has it ever worked. So you see if I can stop and show you. There they are. My new kicks. I'm not real happy about the color, but nobody's watching me when I walk on this trail. I'm not a big fan of gray. We got gray skies. I don't need gray shoes. So I did order a pair of, same pair, but in black, and then I believe the other color was teal. So I can rotate those out when those come in. And that was so helpful. The ankle pain in my right ankle, I don't even feel it right now. All the correctiveness in the shoe has helped that pain go away. So I'm glad. I've been dealing with that pain for a little while. And who knew a shoe could fix that? So I'm booking it down this trail today, and I want to hear from you. Let's have a conversation today. Never stop looking for solutions. Do you? Do you always seek out solutions? I think sometimes we get to what we think is a solution. We have a lot of hope in that. We put all our eggs in the basket of that. And then what happens? It doesn't work. Or we're disappointed in how our expectations were not met. And so we quit. So when you quit, do you replace it? Do you look for other solutions? And I would dare say A lot of people don't. A lot of people, they just go through the motions and go, well, that didn't work. I guess nothing's going to work. I am not about defeatism. Defeatism is just robbing yourself. When you tell yourself, well, nothing works, you're basically saying that you're not worth it. And I'm sorry, every one of you is worth it. Every one of you is capable of more than you know. Every one of you is deserving of health. Every one of you and your body has the capacity to be as healthy as you want it to be. And yes, maybe you see other people doing the thing you're trying, and they're being successful, and yet it's not successful for you. That does not mean that the thing you're doing isn't right. It might mean you're doing it differently. It might mean you need to add different things to it. So don't get discouraged. Good morning. Don't get discouraged at all. Stay true to the goal, and the goal is to be a better you. Isn't that what we all want? To be a better you? I know that's what I want. Constantly seeking to be better and better. All right, let me scroll back to the top. Talk to me today, guys. Don't leave me hanging. Looks like it's going to start raining here in this 8 o'clock hour. I saw in the forecast it's a 90% chance of rain, which is why I brought my umbrella with me. So if I suddenly pop open my umbrella, you know what happens. So all right, so I'm at an intersection. Let me make sure I don't get run over. Okay. So thanks for being here today. Day 58 of this Sabbatical to 50. Feeling great on 58. How's that for a rhyme? Good morning, Sharon. Thank you for being here. Linda says, good morning. I'm at a retreat, so I'm walking inside. Awesome. Walking inside works. I would definitely do it if the weather was really bad out here. I would definitely find some place to walk inside. But I do like the outside, other than the storming cars flying by me. I do like being outside with the fresh air. And when it's sunny, it's really beautiful in the mornings when I'm out here. Kira says, I love that store, Fleet Feet. I also buy my Features socks there. They have left and right socks. Great socks. Yeah, they tried to sell me all kind of stuff yesterday. I'm like, I'm just here for the shoes. Maybe I'll try the socks down the road, but for now, my right ankle is like, thank you. Because I'm literally booking it today. I have no idea how quickly I will get to 30 minutes or how far I will get. Can I break a record today, you think? I feel like I am booking it so fast today. I have not felt this. This is the best I've ever felt on this trail. Not ready to run or anything, because as I'm walking faster, I feel that ankle a little bit kind of tweaking me. I'm like, all right, don't go so fast. But the fact that I increased that much stability in that ankle just with wearing a new shoe, that's a big deal to me. Good morning, McKay. Thanks for being here. I see some of the people that usually watch on replay are here live today. Got to see what the crazy nutball is saying live. Thank you for being here. Bulletproof Coconut, of course, says, go Jimmy. I myself am looking to get Zero shoes or Vivo Barefoot shoes. I used to own some Vibram 5-finger shoes. So for those of you that don't know about minimalist shoes, basically it's a very minimalist shoe. It's got a bottom layer, I guess, to protect the bottom of your feet when you're walking. But then each of the toes goes inside this little hole that's shaped like a toe. That's why they're called Vibram 5 fingers. And then it's very like light mesh at the top, and you can tie them there. But it doesn't make your foot feel like it's in a cast, which is what a lot of tennis shoe wearers can be. I remember interviewing this guy on my podcast one time on the Living La Vida Low Carb show. Good morning. He's at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. I don't know if he's still there or not, but he was when I interviewed him. But he was known as the Barefoot Professor. And he literally never wore shoes. Never. And he runs barefoot. He walks around barefoot. He drives barefoot. He goes into restaurants and they try to give him a hard time. No shirt, no shoes, no service. And he's like, that's not a law. So he has a little handy dandy little card he hands them that says, yeah, you can't discriminate for me not wearing shoes. Interesting conversation. I'll have to look that one up and pop it out for you guys to see it. But Daniel, I think was his first name. It's been a long time ago. We're talking like a decade ago I interviewed him. But it's fascinating when you can go as barefoot as you can, which these minimalist shoes that you're talking about, Bulletproof Coconut, they help you accomplish that. They are shaped the way our toes are meant to be placed. Yes, I love the separation between the toes. If you've ever worn a tennis shoe for a period of time, you'll see all your toes scrunched up like you've been in a cast, because that's what a tennis shoe is, basically, is a cast for your foot. And so, yeah, I have toe separators that I have to use to try to help correct some of that squishing of the toes. And when I haven't done it in a while, it hurts. So you can buy those online, toe separators. It's this little gel thing that you just slip them between your toes and it will expand out your toes. So you've got space between them. And that helps your foot operate properly, minimizes pain in various parts of the body, especially the low back and things like that. So highly recommend for sure. Never give up, says Michelle. Absolutely. But isn't it funny how we try things, they don't work out. We try things, they don't work out. We try things, they don't work out. At some point, people get tired of trying and they think that nothing's going to work. They convince themselves of that. And so when you're convinced that nothing is going to work, your brain says, well, nothing's working, so I guess we won't even try. And that's a travesty. So absolutely, never give up. Sounds a little cliche, but it's true. The moment you give up, you're giving up on yourself. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to give up on myself. Hang on, I'm at another intersection and there's a car trying to turn. I think the pedestrians always have the right of way anyway, so. But never give up on yourself. Kills me how many people are so willing to just give up everything that they've worked so hard on. And to what end and for what reason? Because you were frustrated that the thing you tried didn't work? That's a silly reason to give up. If one thing doesn't work, you try something else and something else. And maybe you stack various things to see if all those things together provide you benefit. The only thing that's not acceptable is not doing anything. Or feeling like fatalistic, nothing's happening, so might as well do whatever I want. And you go into very dangerous, destructive patterns, which down the road you go, dang, why did I do that to myself? So don't do that. Debbie also says, never give up. It's my motto and has been for many years. You got to have that mentality. And look, I try to speak up for those people where it's a little harder. People like myself have long been criticized. Why do you still talk about health? You're anything but healthy. A healthy person that's actually following a diet would be skinny and fit, and you're no role model, blah, 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 bullshit. Trust me, I have heard it all over the years. And I've stayed in the game for one reason alone, because I feel like I represent a lot more people than anybody wants to admit. I think I represent that segment of the population that is being proactive about their health. They are trying to do things that are beneficial. And for whatever reason, those things that are, quote, supposed to work aren't working for them. And so I'm here to encourage all of you that fit in that category, and there's a bunch of you, that you're not alone, that the fight is worth it, that even in the midst of you not feeling like you're doing very well, you're doing very well. I say often in interviews when I'm being interviewed on other people's shows that had I not gone low carb 17 years ago, I would probably be dead today. And I believe that. I look at my brother Kevin, who died at 41. My dad had heart attacks at 48, 50, and quintuple heart bypass at 54. Lost both grandfathers, had other health issues in my family line. On the cusp of turning 50 here in a couple months, I'm not supposed to be alive, or not as vibrantly alive as I am. So that's the way I look at it, that no, I'm not where I want to be in my physical body, but I'm a whole heck of a lot better off than I would have been had I given up and stopped looking for solutions. And even in the midst of doing some of those solutions, you're not all the way there yet. That's okay. The things you're doing got you to where you are, where you can still get out here and walk for an hour, where you can still put in the effort, where your mind is expanded and you're able to do things mentally that you didn't think were possible. Remind yourself of those little things that, but for what you're doing that you think is maybe not working as well, you would not be in a good spot. That's a little perspective for you today. All right, guys, so I have 5 more minutes before I'm at my halfway point, and I can actually see that road where I turned around as the furthest place I've gone. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to make it there, definitely within the 5 minutes. The only question is, will I go beyond that road? Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. A car just pulled out from it, literally in my sights. And now I've got 4 minutes. I think by the time I get there, there might be like 1 minute left. So I might be breaking another record today. Like I told you, I'm booking it today. The ankle, yeah, I'm feeling it a little bit right now because I've been walking very fast. But the ankle's pretty stable. So that's good. Sadie says, I love your examples. Good morning to you. Yeah, thank you. I don't really prepare notes or anything. Sometimes analogies just come to me, and I like the tool analogy. If you're only using a diet, that's just carrying around a screwdriver with you. You can get a few things done, but not much. So add in all the other tools and watch what happens. Pretty amazing. Good morning, Luli Calderon. Thanks for being here. Angie says, readjustments have always got to be made. That's just life. You need to use a bit of grit. Yeah, I think sometimes we get used to things, don't we, Angie? Where, well, this has worked, and so why isn't it working now? I don't understand. And that's where you've got to remind yourself, okay, it might have worked before, but you were younger. Now you're a little older. Maybe what worked before isn't working as well now. So always remember that perspective. That will serve you well. Day 58, awesome, says Sharon. Yeah, I am out here feeling so good. And I'm flying, guys. I'm coming up. I've got maybe a minute and a half to get to that road where it was the longest I've been. So it looks like I'm going to forge new trail here today. Yeah, I'm coming up on it. It's 2 more minutes before it's half an hour. Yeah, I'm easily going to hit this marker. So we're going to go a little further today. Woo woo! I'm trying to, my Oura ring measures how fast I walk. And I'm trying to get it under 17 minutes for the mile. I think the lowest I got was like 18.2 minutes per mile when I walked this far the other day. So today I have a feeling I'm going to go much further. All right, here we are. I got about a minute and a half left. This is the old halfway mark. And so we're forging new territory, guys. Oh my gosh, look how far downhill that is, which means coming back, I'm gonna have a killer uphill coming back on this. Holy crap. That is so steep going downhill. Okay. Wish me luck. It is what it is. Yeah, this is the steepest hill, which means coming back up gonna be a bit of a bitch. But I'm not complaining. I love the challenge. All right. I see a spot I'm gonna turn around, and it's right here. My brand new PR, just a few days after I had my latest PR. I'm gonna turn around right here and then back up the hill. Woo, when I get past it, oh yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so steep. This is the steepest hill on this whole trail. Oh, so steep. Ah, feel the burn, Jimmy, feel the burn. Ah, that's okay. I just set a new personal record. I will take it. Take it. Angie says, I got a storm here. My walk is on my mini trampoline. That's awesome. Yeah, I've already gotten in my red light therapy, my vibration plate, my meditation. I'm on my walk now. I'll have the sauna when I get back. I may be grounding in the rain today, that's okay. The point of the grounding is to connect with the earth. And while I'm out there, I usually get sunshine too. But if it's pouring down rain, I'll be getting all those minerals, as long as it's not lightning, and it shouldn't be. But I get all those minerals from the rain. So I will take that. And then after that, take a shower. And then end with a cold shower. Lately, the water has been super cold with the temperatures, and like I think it was 43 this morning. So I don't really need to put ice in a bathtub when it's basically ice coming out of the spigot now. So I will get that done. What's left after that? I think I'm done, and I'm fasting today. So I think I'll be done. I have 2 podcasts today. One at noon, I'll be on someone else's podcast talking about cholesterol for a recording. And then at 3 o'clock, I get to talk to this wonderful lady in the UK named Pauline Cox. She's an expert in ketones and brain health. So I look forward to that. So I needed to get all the things done early on so I could be ready for that busy afternoon that I have coming up. I will walk to work outside today, about 20 minutes. I love that, Luli. That's awesome. If you're able to, and I've found myself doing this, when you go to a store, park the furthest out from the door. So if you go to Walmart or something, park as far away as possible. Number one, lots of parking places. But then number 2, gives you a few more steps. So that's good. Michelle says, got to use all the tools in the toolbox. Nutrition, hydration, sleep, fasting, movement, stress management, etc. Always keep tweaking, never stop. Absolutely. All those things you mentioned are amazing. What's sad is culture has only put the focus on 2 of those things. And I would argue 2 of those things but the wrong version of two of those things. So nutrition, they tell you eat low fat. Maybe low fat, if that works for you, but they only recommend low fat. And they vilify meat and they vilify saturated fat. And then the other one was movement. They only really talk about cardio. They don't talk much about resistance training, HIIT training, those kinds of things. So if all society is telling you is a light version of two of those things, they don't talk about stress, sleep, sunshine exposure, all the other things, then you're not getting a complete picture of health. It's why you see people like me and others in the alternative health community. We've been out here for years talking about more than diet. Yes, diet's the foundation, but all these other things, I think, are becoming more and more evident of their role in your health. Which is why Jimmy Moore is doing all these things he's doing right now. Because I know it's more than diet. Way more. I'm happy you're feeling great, says Kira. Thank you. Honestly, I haven't felt super great with that ankle. I don't know if I rolled it. I don't know what I did to it. My theory, I had a friend check on me today. Why is your ankle hurting? So earlier this year, if you've been following my work on my stories on Instagram, I talked about this thing I got called a pseudonoma, where I got these big splotches on my inside part of my upper leg. And it was like a humongous, like, bruise thing. It's not the same as the one on my calf I had recently. These were up on the inside parts of my quadriceps. And so I went to the doctor and they said, oh, that's a pseudonoma. So I had to go through some antibiotics and other things. They prescribed a bunch of things. What I ended up doing was going on a fast. I fasted for 18 days and that thing cleared up. But one of the things that happened was my right ankle, the one that's currently hurting, it started to swell up. So I wonder if this pain now is a residual from that. And so I would say that my ankle is not as swollen as it was then, but maybe it's got a slight little swelling. So it feels like a twisted ankle. If you've ever played basketball or heard about basketball players rolling their ankle, it kind of feels like that. And so I'm working through it. These shoes are definitely helping a lot. Because day before yesterday, I literally limped most of my walk because I was in such pain. So I'm glad I took the day off yesterday and that I got these new shoes to help with that. Tricia says, happy you got the shoes and that they're able to help with your ankle. Yeah, me too. It's what inspired this message today about never stop looking for solutions. I could have kept gritting my teeth about that ankle, but I knew it was something probably simple that I could change that would help with that. And sure enough, it was. It was. Changing shoes was not a big deal. Now, it was a big deal financially because those shoes were not cheap. I can usually get a pair of shoes for my foot. I wear 13 wide width at a traditional shoe store. And there's like two pairs I can buy. There's Nike has a version of 13 wide width, like Triple E. And then New Balance is the other one that has a shoe that will fit me. And that's it. I've never really gone to a running store before, running shoe store, but they sized my foot, and you know what they found? One of my feet is 13 and a half inches. So I was in a 13, and I needed at least, and they don't make 13 and a halves. So what I'm wearing now are 14s. So maybe part of the relief is my foot's actually able to move a little bit more malleable, and thus is helping with the pain. So that's interesting. The funny part, the one is 13 and a half. My other foot is 12 and a half. How does that happen? I got one foot 13 and a half, one foot 12 and a half. So I've got two 14s on. I think she said something about the arches slightly have fallen. I still have arch, but kind of a medium-sized arch. Never been real flat-footed. But it's making all the difference, so I'm pretty happy. Bulletproof Coconut says, I use Vibram 5 fingers as well. The only thing I didn't like about the Vibrams Bulletproof is your foot would sweat like crazy in that thing. So you'd pull them off and you would smell foot funk. Foot funk is not a pleasant smell. So if Vibram was smart, they would sell a minimalist sock to go inside their minimalist shoe. That way it can soak up some of the moisture. Let it be one of those absorbent, maybe charcoal kind of socks, and have each of the toes go inside it like it does the Vibram 5 finger, and then that slips right into the shoe. I would probably go back to Vibrams if we could solve the sweaty foot issue, because that is a mess. Cena says, just got a replacement pair of sneakers on Sunday. My feet are so happy. Glad you found a place to get yours. They are worth the expense. Yes. Like I said, I got this pair. Don't like the color, but I don't care. I'm out of pain. They're functional. And I went ahead because these were so nice. Went ahead and bought 2 more pair. I think I got a notification this morning that FedEx is going to drop off a package. So it looks like I'll have my second pair today, and then the third pair will come from another store. So definitely worth the expense, but they weren't cheap. Usually my shoes cost maybe $80 or $90. Sometimes I'll get them on sale around $70, $75. These here were $155. So a little more than I typically spend on shoes, but if it gets me out of pain, it lets me meet my goals. To me, that expense is worth it. I get to stay out of the doctor's office because I injure myself. That's the way I see it. People can choose to focus on the solutions or focus on the problems, says Bulletproof Coconut. Yeah. And not just focus on problems, I think cause the problems. That might step on a few toes. What do you mean I'm not causing the problems? Really? Think about if your mindset was in a good place, that there is a solution out there and I've just got to find it. I need to never stop looking for solutions. But your brain is taking you down this path of nothing's going to work. You should just quit. It's all useless what you're doing. Don't even try. And you don't tame that monster in your head telling you all those things. Isn't that your fault? And I don't say it in an ugly way of, well, it's your fault, deal with it. It's more of, okay, if you become self-aware of those thoughts and then grab back control of those thoughts, it won't overtake you. You won't focus on the problems. You will focus on the solutions. So much of life is all about the choices we make in our heads. Think about all the things that have happened in your life and the decisions you've made. Yes, there's regret there, and trust me, Jimmy has lots of regrets in terms of, dang, had I done this, it would have turned out better. But I'm also a realist. I'm also okay, I made a choice. It didn't go the way I wanted it to, but that's not going to ruin me. I learn from that experience. I grow from that experience. And my next choices will be guided by how that experience went. And that's the way I live my life. Every aspect of my life. That's how you find solutions. You gotta mess up to know what the solution is. If everything you tried worked, you would never really appreciate what it took for you to get where you're trying to go, right? If every time you did something, it all worked out, you wouldn't appreciate that. You would come to expect it. You would believe you're owed it. So in that way, I'm really glad I've had the struggles. I'm glad that I had to go through a lot of hoops and things not working out, because when I get things working well, I'm so grateful. I'm so appreciative. I cherish those moments, and I've got a sense of accomplishment because of that too. Because if everything always works out, when do you feel accomplished? I would say never. Some people might say always, but no. I think the human brain needs you to fail from time to time so that you can see and feel what winning feels like, what accomplishing feels like. That's just my thoughts. So if you've not quite found the right solution yet, keep looking, because when you do, that will carry you a long time. I can tell you, when I found the low-carb diet, 2005, little did I know that all of those failed attempts to lose weight, mostly on low-fat diets, they were not going to dictate how this one goes. Because this one was different. This one I was able to eat things I've never been able to have on a diet before. And I felt good. After the initial feeling bad, I felt good pretty quick. And when you feel good, it motivates you to want to keep going, and it ended up being my solution. And here I am 17 years later, still eating that diet, still enjoying the benefits it gives me. Not always weight benefits. That's where all these other things are my solution now, along with the diet. But the diet has gotten me in a good place physically, in my health, mentally. You got to remind yourself of all those things and to never, ever give up. Debbie says, "You got this. You got this." Thank you. Thank you, Kira. Just bought a badge. If you guys want to support my work and you're watching live, there is a nice little badge down there that you can click on. Lets you donate $1 or $2 or $1, $3 or $5. Shows your appreciation for what you get here. So thank you for that, Kira. Jen says, "Mine are 2 sizes 2 and half a size difference." Yes, talking about your feet. I had never actually had my feet measured like that before. Yeah, she's like, the one side is 13 and a half and the other side is 12 and a half. I was like, okay. She did say that my heel tended to hit pretty hard. So these shoes I'm wearing feel like I'm going down in a hole a bit. But that's part of the correctiveness of the shoe, is allowing that heel to hit, but not hit as hard. Maybe that was causing some of the ankle pain as well, was the right heel was hitting so hard, especially on this pavement. It's pavement the whole way. So I think over time I'm going to be very glad that I got these shoes. Kira says, "Did your chiro ever ask about your shoes when you hurt your back? Seems like back pain starts from the foundation, which is the feet and the posture oftentimes." No. They did not ask about it. Of course, I know what happened with the back. The back really was nothing to do with the shoes. If you'll recall, I tried test flipping the tractor tire, 2 days before I started the sabbatical. And I think I lifted it the wrong way, maybe twisted while I was lifting. And that's what caused the issue. So, but no, they never said anything about my shoes. I did talk to a posture expert on my podcast recently. I think we aired that on Tuesday this week on Living La Vida Low Carb Show. And she noticed some things about my posture, which I thought were interesting. Of course, as I've gone down this journey, my posture has improved. A lot of people have commented on that they could see that the posture has improved. It's pretty cool. Bulletproof says, agreed. I thought about seeing if skinny stocking-like toe socks exist that would fit inside the 5-finger. Yeah, dude, I think they're missing out on a grand opportunity. Vibram 5-finger socks. And they could make them premium. They could put like moisture absorbing, charcoal, odor, deodorizing, all kind of stuff to sell it and sell it well. Charge a premium price and make it profitable. But I'm not their marketing manager. They didn't ask my opinion. Kira says, how many badges we need to buy to help you with the shoe purchase? Oh, let's just say the 3 pair that I bought yesterday, almost $500. So I realize that's a lot of money, but the way I saw it was I needed a solution for the pain. I needed a good, especially if I'm going to be doing a lot of walking well beyond the sabbatical, I need to have options available. So these 3 pairs of shoes should last me a long time. I usually buy shoes once every 6 months. I'll wear through a traditional pair of shoes in 6 months. And so I got 3 pair here. So these should last me, at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. But yeah, not cheap. So a lot of badges. Kira bought another badge. She's like, dude, $500, I can do a little more. So thank you for that. But welcome in, guys. Thanks for being here today. It is day number 58 of my sabbatical to 50. If this is your first time watching my videos during this 100-day challenge, I'm doing 100 days in a row of all kinds of things. Thank you, Sadie. She just got a badge as well. 100 days in a row of, on the odd days, I'm basically eating carnivore, just like I've been eating for the past 4 years, pretty much carnivore. So this sabbatical, exclusively carnivore on the odd days. Then on the even days, like today, I am fasting. And so for at least 24 hours, fasting, not eating any food at all, full on fasting. So I'm doing that every other day. Then as far as biohacking, I am walking for 60 minutes a day, usually in the morning, talking to you guys. I'm popping into an infrared sauna. I'm getting in front of a red light. I am on a vibration plate, which helps move the lymph. Thank you, Trisha, for the badge. Everybody's coming through with a badge today. Let's make it a badge fest today, guys. Keep getting badges. Thank you for that, by the way. It says vibration plate, then meditation, then grounding with sunshine, or like today, it's going to be pouring down rain, grounding with lots of mineralized rain hitting my body. I think that's it. Yeah, that's a lot, right? It's a whole lot. And then the ice bath, which lately has been a cold shower. So very cold water in my pipes when I take a shower. So I usually take the shower and then at the very end, turn it on to the coldest setting. And I stay under there a good amount of time, maybe 15, 20 minutes of constantly mostly hitting my head and the upper body, trying to get the cold exposure wherever there is inflammation on my body, mainly the belly. So that's what I'm doing on a daily basis. Oh wow, Kira, you're the first person that's ever bought 3 badges. It says your profile photo is now going to glow. Write me a comment. I've got to see what your profile photo glowing means. That is awesome. That is so cool. Thank you for that, Kira. Beth, hadn't seen you in forever. Keto Neogenesis says, I still have all of the text. You're something to ignore someone who wants to forgive you. Well, thank you for that. You can forgive all you want. And I'm happy to accept your forgiveness. There's no need to come on my live to do that, but everybody has their way of doing things. God bless you. Yes, you're glowing. Kira, you are glowing. It's got a little red circle around you, and you're that is cool. I've never seen somebody give 3 badges in one live. So now I know what happens. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Beth, I will definitely look to see why you're blocked or whatever. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. I don't know that you're blocked on Facebook. Maybe reach out to me there. Who knows what happened, my sweetie, but thank you for that. Kira says, hilarious. It is hilarious. You're literally like standing out from everybody else. It's like, So day 58, you guys. Yeah, here comes the rain. I'm starting to feel it come down a little more now. Day 58 of my Staybatical to 50, seeking out 100 days of this journey to better health. And I am very pleased with how this has gone. Never intended for this to be the be-all, end-all, that this would be everything that I'm doing is just in this 100 days. No, this 100 days is kind of kickstarting what's happening. And so I'm happy to have the kick in the butt. And at the end of the day, it was all about me, motivating myself, doing all the things that I know I need to do, and I'm doing them. And there's a lesson there. Consistency is so key. It really is. Be consistent with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If something's not working, you either haven't given it long enough to work, you haven't done it well, or it's the wrong thing. And so constantly be evaluating those things. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking you're doing the right thing. Then when things aren't working, you start to freak out. Well, wait a minute. This is the right thing. Why isn't it working? And you start feeling bad about yourself. Such mind games, guys. Such mind games. And I'm over the mind games. Over them. Don't want to play that anymore. It's not worth it. Life's just too damn short. Too many good things to happen in life to get bogged down by what your mind tells you is reality when it's not reality necessarily at all. You get this mindset stuff down, you guys, and it will revolutionize you. You start thinking positively, optimistically, expectantly about how things should be. Don't be surprised when they start turning into that. And I've become so convinced that as you think, so you are. Be it good or bad. If you think bad thoughts, if you think fatalistically, if you think things aren't going great, don't be surprised when you start believing things aren't great. And then the vice versa. You think things going well, you're giving yourself lots of positivity and encouragement and really uplifting yourself. Don't be surprised when you get uplifted and you feel good and you think you're doing well in your life. It's so elementary, but I think we all miss it, don't we? We miss the forest for the trees on that one. And that helps you seek out solutions and not dwell on your problems. That's a big issue for a lot of us. All right, guys, day 58. Gonna be a great one for me today. Already great, because this walk was supposed to have 90% chance of rain. And I got a few sprinkles. And I can smell the rain in the air, so it's close. But I was able to do this whole walk without needing my umbrella. Woot woot. Miss Stacia says, yeah, life is hard enough without anyone, including yourself, making it harder on you. You're a huge inspiration. Thank you. I try to share thoughts that I feel like are going to help people. Because if you're being helped, you can go help people in your life, and it spreads. We got enough sourpusses in the world who don't seek to help anybody, not even themselves. And then we wonder why people have such hate and animosity in their hearts for one another, that they're ugly towards one another. Yeah, no thanks. That's no way to live. No way at all to live. So as always, guys, if you missed any of my past episodes, you can go over to my website, livinlavitalow-carb.com/staybatical. Got them all listed there for you. Or you could look up the hashtag staybatical50 here on Instagram. They all go up on IGTV, so you can find them that way. Or over on YouTube, look up the hashtag staybatical50. They're there as well. I embed them on my Facebook pages. They're everywhere. Don't want you to miss a single episode. So before I get out of here, I want to tell you about something that happened 2 days ago when I was coming back from my walk. So you guys know I'm on the tail end of the trail by this part of the walk, and I'm about to be in my neighborhood on my way to my house here momentarily. Well, in a minute, I'm going to be passing by this brick house on a corner up here. And I've walked by, talking to you guys on Instagram many times live as I'm walking by that house. And there was this couple there. They would always kind of wave. I'd wave back. That's how we roll here in the South. So I'm getting back from my walk on Tuesday, right around 9 a.m., somewhere around this time. And lo and behold, 15 minutes after I walked by, and this is no joke, you guys, 15 minutes after I walked by that house, the man shot his wife, dead. And then he shot himself. So there was a murder-suicide 5 houses down from where I live. And I didn't know about it. Like I said, I'm 5 houses down, so I didn't hear the gunshots. The across the street neighbor of this house, they did hear the gunshots, and they called 911. And so I remember going out around midday to go run some errands, and there was 12 cop cars. There were all the news media parked all around. I'm like, what in the world? And what was funny was, as I was driving that direction, I saw this yellow tape around the yard. And I thought, oh, they must be decorating for Halloween. Because, you know, sometimes they put up danger, do not cross, and all this kind of stuff, yellow tape, as like a Halloween thing. Well, as I got closer and saw all the cop cars and the news media, I went, somebody's dead. And sure enough, I found out later, reading some online news reports, that the man had shot his wife dead. He tried to kill himself, but when they got there, he was still alive, but then he died at the hospital. So that literally happened 2 days ago just down the road from me, 5 houses down from my house. And it shows you where we are in the state of the world right now. And I tell you that story to just remind you that people are hurting right now. People are going through things that, on the outside, I never would have guessed. I was walking by a house with someone capable of doing such a heinous crime. And thankfully they didn't have any kids. They did have 2 dogs that they sent away to the shelter. But it was really a sad state of where we are right now. People pushed to their brink mentally. So check on the people you care about in your life, especially the ones you know are going through difficult times. Maybe they've been forced to quit their job because they don't want to get the hokey pokey. Maybe they lost their job because the company they worked for went under during the pandemic. Whatever. Check on those people. See how they're doing. Don't let tragedy happen needlessly. If there's people in your life you care about that you know might be on the brink, reach out. And it's sad. I can see the house from here, and there's a couple cars in the driveway. What I want to know is, how is the realtor going to sell that house? Yeah, there was a murderer in here, the last tenants, but there it is. Right there. Just a couple days ago. Right about 20 minutes from now, 15, 20 minutes from now. Shot and killed. And then killed himself. For the life of me, I will never understand that kind of mentality. For you to be pushed to that brink. It just doesn't come to my mind at all. Well, my ketosis mind stays pretty chill. I could do a whole diatribe about how diet impacts your emotional health, your mental health, and it does. But then add on top of that immeasurable stress and all the everything in the world. I couldn't imagine. Could never imagine. All right, well, sorry to end on a somber note, but I thought as I was walking by there, you would want to hear about what happened. I was imagining the other day, what if I was on here talking to you guys and walking by that house when the gunshot happened? I would have freaked out. I would have been like trying to hide behind something, not knowing if the gunman was just randomly shooting people. I would have just heard the gunshots and would have freaked me out. I might have dropped the phone and run, because you never know. The world has gotten crazy. All right, guys, let me get off of here. Day 58, Staybatical to 50. livinlavitalowcarb.com/staybatical. #staybatical to 50 on YouTube and Instagram. And we'll be back again real soon. Sadie says, so sad. Mental health challenges are rising, especially these past 2 years. Have a wonderful day. I will have a wonderful day. And yeah, check on your people. Don't leave your people hanging. And even those undesirable people in your life, they need you too. Don't give up on them. All right, guys, I'm out of here for real now. We'll see you later.